My name is Jake Rankin. This is the Jake Rankin Fishing YouTube channel. This is some film from my last trip down to the southern Delaware coastline, fishing for an inshore saltwater species such as stripers, redfish, sheepshead, and I think we get a small bluefish or two too. There's a lot of small flounders and other small sea bass that I just didn't include because, I mean, it's pretty easy to catch them and not really that big of a deal. So this is just the highlights of the trip, and it was about a week-long trip, middle August, so hope you enjoy.
Jesus.
The next 5 fish were all caught in the Broadkill River using painted jig heads tipped with live minnows on a medium-light Uglystick rod and a Penn 450 reel, using about 20-pound test braid and 15-pound test monofilament leader. The audio will get progressively better throughout this video, and I think it should turn on after I release this fish. So I kind of hooked this fish while I was pedaling, so it kind of went right behind me, and that's why the rod's not in the angle, and so it'll turn soon, and the rod will be in the angle. But just wanted to say that like redfish are definitely one of the hardest fighting saltwater fish. Like you can catch, like I was catching striper and sea trout and redfish and flounder back there, but every time I hooked a redfish, it took a good while to get them in every single time. They really fight well.
it's another redfish. Sweet. Yeah, could you take a picture of me? Would it be easier for you to take a picture of me? Cool.
So what's your knack?
I'll show you one second. All I've been using is this. Because of all the snags and stuff, we just keep this kind of moving, and everything is like, because I mean, everything feels like a bite pretty much, but every now and then I feel something that's like, woo, so I just give it a... Oh no, I have been. I put a minnow on here. But it's, yeah, just a minnow through the lips, like. But I don't know, the second fish I hooked, so much bigger than whatever. The first, or this, like. Oh. They seem to be hanging out around this corner out here. That's probably my third, fourth actual, like, of the bites I've been getting. That was probably my third or fourth fish that I had on. Yeah, there's something. He can't get away from me. I just have doing my circles. He hit right under the boat. Oh, he doesn't like the boat. Keeps on doing this thing where you're gonna run around. I can't get him in. Huh? It's hard. He's wearing me out.
treble hooks got stuck in the net.
So all of these redfish were caught in about a week period, and they're all caught in the same pretty small spot on the incoming tide. And they only stuck around there for about a week because after a storm came through while we were down there for that trip, they all moved out. So I'm using a flounder rig and a small flounder rod, so that's one of the reasons I think this fish is so big.
Oh, I got, oh no, I do not.
So this fish turns out to be a pretty nice striper, and
I don't know what it is.
I don't know, middle August in Delaware is pretty rare to catch a nice striper, so especially using flounder rig, that wasn't really an intentional catch, but it was pretty cool.
Whoa, it's a deep big striper. Whoa, dang, oh my goodness, you got to get a look at this guy, he's huge. I see your net. I need your net. Okay. Oh. Oh. Huh. 28 inches.
do apologize about the wind noise. I just got a new GoPro 5, and I did not realize how to use the wind thingy on it. But this is my first ever fish of the species. You'll see what it is when I get it in. And believe it or not, it's on 8-pound test braid with only 8-pound test monofilament leader. And well, it ended up being pretty big, and I'm surprised he got it in without breaking it off. So the reel and rod I was using for this was the rod was a Daiwa Samurai 5.5 foot, very light rod, rated for about like 3/8 ounce at the most. So really pushing the limits for it. And I was also using a Mircolite reel, and both worked out all right. I was pretty surprised because it ended up being a pretty big fish. Ended up weighing close to, I'd say, 5 or 6 pounds, but it was just guessing. It might have been bigger, I think. I don't know.
Big old sheepshead. I'm letting them go, but that's awesome. It's the biggest one I've ever caught. I've never caught one before. Oh yeah.
It honestly was my first sheepshead ever, so definitely like them. Definitely want to catch more.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Well, I hope you like those videos, and I hope you subscribe. Jake Rankin Fishing Channel. And there'll be a lot more fishing videos to come. Freshwater, saltwater. I do a lot of fishing, so there'll be a lot of videos. And definitely gonna go on a road trip south soon, so that'll be pretty cool. And that's not much. The videos will get better as time goes on, so I know that was a little bad the first few ones, so that's about it. Hope you subscribe.